Death must die. Everyone I've told about this game has laughed in my face once I told them the title. While yes, the title is a bit cringe and some of the dialogue and voice acting is a bit cringe, the gameplay is not cringe. Imagine if vampire survivors and Hades mate out in the corner of a party for 30 minutes, with Diablo's item system watching from the opposite corner. The result of that would be Death Must Die. The Vampire Survivors gameplay loop where enemies swarm you from all sides and you have to survive, but you have to attack manually and you have 2 dashes. That's the Hades stuff. And the fact that leveling up gives you a blessing from the gods, like shooting a cone of fire every few attacks and occasionally triggering a chain lightning. Now, Diablo items. Sometimes enemies drop items and bosses pretty much always drop items, and these are your roguelite progression. Equip better items and you get stronger, and you keep items between runs and then you get further in the runs. And get better items, and there's a shop in the base to buy better items, and to sell trash. Oh, and you also have Diablo's campfire character selection. You start with just a knight, but as you play the game you unlock more characters. You unlock them when you die. The new characters arrive to this mountain castle or whatever, and the character you were playing as greets the new one and explains everything that's going on. And what is going on? Okay, like Death broke the rules or something and the other gods are upset. And the time god is preventing the player characters from dying so they can kill Death. ? I think that's what's happening. Anyway, characters. The knight has a slashing melee attack, the mage a ranged firebolt, barbarian attacks all around him, the warrior a slashing melee attack, that's kinda different from the knight, and Nixie, the assassin, has a double stab. So they all play pretty differently, even though they mostly get the same god blessings. Back to Nixie. Remember when I said dialogue was cringe? I was pretty much exclusively talking about her. Reading her dialogue is like reading text messages from an edgy teenager. She thinks she's being edgy, but actually she's just being rude and annoying. So every time I saw dialogue with her, I was just thinking, ugh, shut up. But then the game did something unexpected. They gave her a redemption arc, and she just realizes she's being rude and annoying and apologizes. What the fuck? Character development in a video game. That's rare, especially in a game like this, that's mostly just turning your brain off and slaughtering thousands of skeletons. The player characters don't have voice acting, but the gods do, and here's a few clips of that.
Hey, you're the one Time gave their hourglass to, huh? Well, whatever it is you're doing here, I'm always the first to help mortals, so allow me to lend a hand.
Hero, I task you with defeating Death. For this, I reward you with my powers. Now obey.
Now isn't this curious? You are so intertwined. Will you fail? Or succeed? Or... oh, sorry. They haven't arrived for you yet. But it would be a shame to see you fail. Perhaps we could... fudge the numbers a little.
I found some of the voice work to be a little grating, but mostly okay. I think most of my dislike comes from this filter or effect they have on the god voices, to make them sound more ethereal or something. Which in theory would be cool, but for me personally, it resonated with me in the wrong way. But you can skip the dialogues and the voiceover and get straight into the gameplay. That's what I'm here for. An endless slaughter for like half an hour where you attack automatically with build variety with a bunch of randomness that you have some control over is already fun. Add having to actively dodge strong enemy attacks and attacking at the right time, that's even funner. When you attack you move slower, so you position yourself and then attack, and when you really need to get away you dash. Or just use that to move faster to the shrines and stuff all over the map. Interacting with those shrines will make you stronger during the run. So you have to choose between going after shrines and just slaughtering enemies for XP. But you could get a shrine that boosts your XP gain, so you will make up for that XP lost, but you might not. Most of the time I have found shrines worthwhile, and they are a good addition to the game to break up the monotony. Okay, let's look at some builds and bosses. Look at this build. I don't even consider this a good build, but I'm killing all of them. Why is it bad? Because it's not that great at dealing with elite enemies and bosses. It doesn't have good mobility to dodge attacks, and it doesn't have good damage mitigation. Look at the Necromancer boss. He shoots a bunch of missiles at you at once. You can dodge them or destroy them with a melee attack. That's easy, but you're also getting swarmed by enemies, and some attacks are gonna get through. Especially if you lose track of the Necromancer who can teleport. So when you build, you need to think about everything that's ahead, whether it's the normal enemies, the bosses, or those minute marks where you get swarmed by slimes or skeletons, with the goal of having a good enough build to survive that and beat the final boss, the Baron Dracula. What happens when you beat Dracula? Pretty much the same thing as when you die, except you get some fat loot from Dracula's corpse. And then you go back to base. Except the first time you kill Dracula and go back to base, you unlock the moon. Or the moonlight, but that sounds less cool. But with that, you can make your runs harder for yourself, but also increase your chances of getting good loot. I'm not gonna lie to you, this game is a cyclical grind fest, but I had a lot of fun with that. Just go in, kill a bunch of things, and make a crazy build. But you might ask, if you want a crazy build thing and massacre a bunch of creatures, why not just play Path of Exile? Because of this. This requires my full brain. This requires like 5% or less. And this is a game where I wanna turn my brain off and tickle my reflexes occasionally. The game was surprisingly fun. I give the game a recommend out of I'm trying to get back into the swing of things after exams. Thanks for watching, subscribe and have a good day.